Hey everyone, this is Leanne from Of Love and Shiplap and the founder of Sublimation Graphics and Tutorials here on Facebook. If you're catching us on YouTube, please be sure to come join our Facebook group where all of our videos air live before they're added to our YouTube channel unedited. And of course, if you're catching us live on Facebook, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Those links are in the video description depending on where you're watching. Today's tutorial is on how to create a zipper tumbler in Affinity Designer. Now, I went ahead and created a zipper brush and assets pack for Affinity Designer. You can find that link in the video description, and I will show you how to install them in just a moment. It's super easy. I put together 3 different zipper pulls in 21 different colors and 2 different zipper teeth styles, again, in 21 different colors, for you to be able to use in Affinity Designer to create your custom zipper tumbler. Now, if for some reason you're using a different program or you just don't want to use the zipper brush pack that I created, that's okay. If you head over to a stock site, like Adobe Stock, probably even like Hungry JPEG and Creative Market, or Creative Fabrica, they all probably have some kind of zippers as well. But if you just type in zipper teeth illustration, you're going to find something along this line. And you can use any kind of PNG file or vector file like this as well. And basically, instead of creating the line that you guys will see and adding the teeth brush stroke, instead you would just use one of these over that line. So I'm not really going to show you how to do this today because it's pretty straightforward. You can always check out our other videos. It's just a matter of putting the zipper layer at the top and lining up your shape otherwise. The zipper brush that I created, this gives you the opportunity to create your own custom look, depending on how wide you want this split, or, if you were going to try and do something like this, you have complete control over doing that. So if you have the Affinity Designer Digital Graphic Design Masterclass, if you have signed up for that at any point now, before this, or in the future, you will get all brushes that I ever make for free. This is, of course, the first one I'm doing, but I do hope to do more, but they will be free for anyone who is in the masterclass. If you have not signed up for the Affinity Designer Digital Graphic Design Masterclass for sublimation, you can do so underneath digital courses on my website, and you'll see it listed right there. Once you sign up, it'll show underneath courses, underneath this My Account menu. When you're logged in, you'll be able to access it immediately. You can use the code SUBTHAT to save $30, so you'll get this for $99.99. This course is over 100 hours of video content. I originally thought it was 50 when I wrote this description, but as I had to go back over it, it's actually over 100 hours. There is, I think, 14 different design challenges where you'll get to implement what you're learning, and everything is very detailed. You are going to learn everything there is to know about Affinity Designer, about understanding how to set up your files, the right color format, why you choose specific color formats for sublimation and not for other programs. You're going to learn the terms that are relevant to graphic design so that when you do ask questions, you can sound like an intelligent individual who knows what they're talking about. And you can see the whole course outline when you click on that listing. It is 123 lessons, so it's a lot. And like I said, it's over 100 hours worth of content. In addition to that, if you are taking the masterclass and you find yourself stuck along the way in any of the lessons, there is a contact box where I offer one-on-one support for those who are in the masterclass and have questions working through Affinity Designer. This is not available otherwise because I simply cannot provide that kind of help for 54,000 people. So if you want to catch the original Q&A that I did, that was a live video, you can click this link right here and it'll bring you to our Facebook group, SubThat. And there you can see my original live question and answer session where I talked about the masterclass. It is completely learn at your own pace. There's no rush. There's no tests or quizzes. There are prizes along the way for sharing what you've been working on in the group, and the prizes change every few months. So there's always an opportunity to win new brushes and assets and things like that. And when you're done, you get a cute little certificate and a t-shirt. So all of that is just the benefits of taking this course. And on top of that, this class is not like the classes that you see on Udemy. When I created this course, I wanted to create something that was completely different from what was out there. Otherwise, what's the point in doing it? So I created this course to not only be incredibly in depth in more ways than any other program is, but also to show you how to implement all the things that you're learning. And that's where those design challenges come in that people have been working on. You know, it's easy to say, this is how you use the pen tool or this is how you use the shape tool. But if you don't actually know how to implement that in the real uses that you plan to use it for sublimation designs, then it's kind of pointless. You're still going to be struggling. So this course covers all of that. It's amazing. If you don't have to believe me, you can actually just go to our group and click on topics and click on the one that says our Affinity designer topic is for some reason not, okay. Try hold all. Okay, here we go. If you click on this one that says ADMC, this is the hashtag for our group, for our course, I mean. And you can see the projects that people have been posting. So like this design challenge for this pumpkin, this is only lesson 18 of 123. So if this person was able to create this following what they have learned that far, imagine how much more they'll be able to create when it's all said and done. So you'll see people posting their results, because posting, of course, gives them the opportunity to win some brushes and things like that. So I recommend you check on that hashtag in our group, and you can see all of these posts where people have used their hashtag for the things that they are learning, and you can see what they're saying about the course. They're really loving it. I love seeing this kind of feedback. Honestly, I'm just amazed at how well everyone is doing. So that makes me feel good. So this course is significantly more in depth than anything we do in free videos. It's designed to make you feel like you're a total expert when you're done in how to use Affinity Designer, versus our free videos that we do on the regular in our group are just designed to help you, achieve whatever you're trying to achieve. So today we just want to achieve how to make a zipper tumbler. I'm going to show you the best way to do that. Okay, so without further ado, we're going to be using digital papers today. Creative Fabrica, hands down my favorite place to find digital papers. If you don't have a membership to them, you're missing out on that too. I use this membership specifically to download digital papers and fonts. That is the main things I get off Creative Fabrica, and I save so much money with my membership. It's just like an easy way to have access to a ton of great resources that you can use for your graphic design work, and I love it. I don't really use clip art from here because I don't find a lot that I even really like. And I am, as my talents are progressing, and hopefully as yours will, I'm starting to do more that I create myself. And when I do license it, I license it from non-traditional resources, I should say. For fonts and digital paper, I swear you can't beat this Creative Fabrica membership. This is the main thing that I use it for. There's so much here. It's like unreal. So anyways, money well spent. This is one thing. This is actually the only membership that I have, is this one, in as far as these different sites go, because I do think the value for the fonts and the digital papers is worth it. So we're going to go ahead and open up Affinity Designer. We'll start by opening a new document. Now, for a Tumbler design, you always need to measure your tumbler before you actually print your design. But when it comes to just making the design, I always use 9.25 inches as the width and 8.15 inches as the height. I still have to adjust the size of my print based on the tumbler, and you will too, because tumblers, every single tumbler is different. You can buy a case of 30 and they can be 5 different heights or widths. They vary up to 1/4 of an inch in either direction. So keep that in mind before you print. But in the meantime, in terms of just creating a design, whether you want to sell the design or just use it in a mock-up so that you can make it for a future project, whatever it is, this is the measurements I go for. Set your DPI to a minimum of 300. Your color format for sublimation should always be RGB/8 and your color profile sRGB IEC followed by these numbers. I always prefer to use a transparent background. You can choose to or choose not to. Keep in mind that if you uncheck this, the white areas, any place that's white on your design where you don't apply a background is going to be white. It's not going to be transparent. You can add margins if you want, but for this, because this is the full bleed size, I'm not going to add margins. So I will go ahead and I'm going to hit create in just a second. But if you want to save your preset, when you set these settings, just hit that plus button and it will add it to your presets tab and you can right click on it to rename it. I obviously already have mine, so I will go ahead and hit create. Next, we want to install our assets and brushes. Again, that link is in my video description, so you guys can go ahead and grab those. Installing assets and brushes is super easy. So once you've downloaded them and unzipped them, you're going to make sure you have your assets panel open first. It doesn't really matter which one you do first, but we'll do assets first. If you don't see your assets panel, go to View, Studio, and check Assets. It should be unchecked if you don't see it. If you're in the default mode of your workspace, the Assets panel is probably over here on the left. But if you have closed it out at any point or gotten rid of it, then you may not see it. So again, that's View, Studio, and make sure you have Assets checked. Anytime you can't find a layer, this is where it is. So once you have your assets open, you're going to click on your panel menu, which is this one at the top, not the one down here, the one that's at the top. It will change depending on what tab you have. So you click right on here and you select Import Assets. And you're going to open up that file and you're going to choose your assets file. See, it says .af assets. And you'll hit open. And then you'll have this in your drop-down menu. Colored zipper pulls. There is 3 different styles and there are 21 different colors. Now for your brushes, you do the same thing. You select your brushes tab. You click on the panel menu icon here for your brushes panel. You select Import Brushes, and you select the brush pack. Now this is a vector brush, so it's only going to be visible in the designer persona. If you select the pixel persona, it will not be visible because it's not a pixel-based brush. So it's going to ask you to approve it. I'm going to say okay. And there's our brushes. So you can see that there are 2 different teeth types. We've got just the traditional straight teeth and these notch teeth. I don't really know zipper teeth, like special names, but I did 21 different colors as well. So you can mix and match your teeth with the different zipper pulls to create the look that you are looking for. So these are pretty easy to use, quite honestly, as you're about to see. The first thing that we want to do is create that top layer that is going to have any kind of pattern around it, and our zipper will actually go over top of that. So we will start by just creating a rectangle that fills the entire document space. You can click on your rectangle tool. By default, the fill is going to be some sort of a white shade unless you have previously used a color in the program. You can either change it by clicking on fill up here in your context tool panel, or you can select your color panel over here. Make sure that you do have the filled circle selected because that is your fill. The open circle is your stroke color. We only need fill color in this case. So there is your fill color. And you can go ahead and select really any color. It's just so you can see it. I'll just do black. You're going to start in your top right corner. Now you see that green and red access line. Those are called snapping guides, and they're activated when you have your magnet at the top of your screen selected. If you do not have it selected, you will not see those guides. I recommend having it selected because it just makes alignment a lot easier when you're trying to align objects to the edges of your canvas or to other objects that you're working with. So I'm going to click in that top right corner. I've got my green and red axis letting me know that I'm right on that corner, and I will click and drag to fill the whole space until I see that green and red axis line on the other corner, and this lets me know that my rectangle fills my entire space. Next, we need to create a triangle that's going to be cut out so that we have our space where we can put whatever it is that's supposed to be showing through the zipper. So we'll do this by selecting our triangle tool. If you don't see your triangle tool down here, simply click on this little white arrow and you'll see all of these shapes. You want to select the triangle tool. Make this a contrasting color to whatever color you have. Now, the colors can be changed, so don't worry about what the color is. It is easiest just to do like black and white, but depending on what you're going to do, you'll be able to change it. So I do just want to select off of my rectangle there, and now I will select white, make sure I've selected off of my rectangle, and have my triangle tool selected, and you just click and drag to make a triangle. We're going to be manipulating this, so it doesn't really matter what size your triangle is. What you're going to want to do is then, using your alignment and rotating tools at the top, you're going to flip vertical to make that point down at the bottom of your triangle. Now you want to visualize where you plan to have your zipper flowing. You can modify the line afterwards, so again, don't stress about it. Just get yourself a good rough idea. So if you wanted to have your zipper going all the way up to the corner on either side with a really deep V, then you would extend this triangle all the way out to the side. If you wanted to have a little bit of space, more like this, then you would align it like that. If you want to have your dip all the way down, then you would pull the triangle all the way down. So just sort of give yourself a good visual for where you are intending that your zipper is going to be. It's going to be along this line and then straight down from that point. So whatever that is for you, once you get your triangle set up, you're going to select your move tool and you're going to click and drag to select both your rectangle and your triangle. And then you're going to be able to access these Boolean actions or Boolean tools or Boolean operations, whatever you want to call them. This is basically your way of cutting shapes and curves. So you can add, subtract, intersect, XOR, or divide. We want subtract. Subtract is going to take the top one from the bottom one. So if we hit subtract, now our rectangle has this cut out section that our zipper will fall along this line. Now, a straight triangle is not really what we want for our zipper and probably not what you were looking for either. So what you're going to do next is click on your node tool. And now you can go ahead and manipulate these lines however you would want. So you can simply click on the line and drag it to be able to modify it, and you can do that on both sides. You can also click on the node, and then you'll get these control handles that you can modify. And if you wanted to adjust any of the nodes, like maybe you wanted this height higher or you wanted it lower, you simply click on it and drag and move it around. Pretty easy to get that first layer down. So I'm going to rename this, we'll call this the zipper base layer. Now, It might be easier to lock this layer so that you don't end up manipulating it on accident when you're putting your line, or you can leave it unlocked. It's totally your discretion. I'm going to lock mine just so I don't accidentally move it. I prefer to lock my layers when I'm not using them because it does just make it easier to avoid shifting things and having issues. So we're going to go ahead and click on our pen tool. Now we want to set some nodes that are going to be just below this curve and just to the left of that center line. And don't worry if you happen to be on the center line, we can move them over. It's not that serious. You want to be sure that you are starting at the top of your tumbler and working your way down, however, because it will impact the direction of the zipper teeth. So we'll go ahead and you just click once and you'll get a node, and then we'll click again right over to the side here, and then we'll click again straight down below it when we get that green straight line that we see that lets us know that we are right below it. Now this has a fill, which is not what we want. We want just our stroke to be filled. So over here on our color panel, we're going to just hit that swap arrow. And now our stroke is filled, but our fill is not. And you can boost your stroke with this little slider under the stroke panel so that it's easier for you to see. Now we're going to click on the node tool, and we're just going to do exactly like we did with our base layer. We're going to drag this out, and we just want to get it to align. We're going to be adding our zipper brush, so when we do that brush stroke, it will cover this up. So it doesn't have to be perfect. We do just want it to line up accordingly though, and we'll move this node over just a little bit. And like I said before, you can use these little handles to adjust them. And I do want to move this node over so that they are lined up nice and straight. Okay. Now we want to select the textured line style option for our stroke, and we want to click on brushes and select one of our brushes. This is going to be a July 4th tumbler, so I think I'll just try the gold one. We'll see how that looks for me. I'm going to increase the stroke so you can see this a little bit better. Now, if you have a fill over in here, it's going to impact the color of your zipper teeth. You can modify this to really any color. I did do some preset colors to make it easy for you guys, but if you want to use the preset color that's here, all you do is hit no fill and it will show that color. So you want to just adjust your stroke so that until the zipper teeth are approximately the size that you would like them. And now what we're going to do is we're just going to modify our line a little bit more so that the top little edges of these teeth fall on the line that we've created here. So it's going to be pretty easy. I'm going to zoom in so it'll be a little bit easier for you guys to see. I'm going to start with this node, and I'm actually just going to use my keyboard to move this over and out. And once I see that I have lined it up here, I know I'm in a good starting spot. We can actually just lift this, lift our little control arm there, and we can do the same thing down here. It looks like we need to move this node over a little bit so that this part of our line will fall a little bit better. I think we can still go over a little more. If you notice that it's not lining up exactly how you want at certain nodes, what you can do is, I'm just going to bring this down a little bit. So right in here, it's not lining up quite how I want it. So all I'm going to do is just click on my line. And that's going to add another node. And then I can use my lever. Now this node that's round, that is a smooth node. What we want is a sharp node. So I'm going to select convert to sharp. And then when I click on that node or drag that line, I can adjust it to how I want. There we go. So that whole section is lined up. And then now I can go down here and modify this section as well so that it lines up just how I would like it. And then we will straighten this one out as well. I'm going to move that one over just a hair. Okay. So the only thing I want to fix is this little crook right here that happened when we added in that other node. So we'll click on that node tool again and we will just adjust this line. Here we go. Maybe. And we'll check along that one more time. Okay, everything looks good. We got it right lined up there with just how the zipper would naturally fall anyways. We just had to tweak this little section down here, but I think we're good. Okay, so yeah, so if you just have a spot that doesn't line up, you just add another node and that works out pretty easily. Now we're gonna do the same thing on the other side, except we're going to go from the bottom to the top because we want our teeth to be facing each other. So we will click on that pen tool again, and we will start down here at the bottom, and we'll put a node in here, and then we'll go to that top corner. We can go right ahead and jump into selecting that textured line style, selecting brushes, and choosing whatever brush stroke we want. I'm going to remove that fill color again, so I'll get the gold. You do want to make sure your teeth are the same size. So if I click on that other one and I click on stroke, I can see it's at 24 points. So now I'll click on my one on the right again that we just made and my stroke, and I will enter 24 points as well here so that it will line up. Now we want to start down here at the bottom because we want to get these teeth lined up with each other. So I'm just going to move them over until they line up. Our node is not quite straight, so what we're going to do is click on that node tool and should, as we adjust it, this should adjust. So we want it to be right about there. We're not going to worry too much about this one here that's not lined up because we'll have a zipper pull there, but I do want to just move it out and move it up a little bit more so that these ones look like they are aligned together. You may need to tweak your line just a little bit to make that happen, but just keep in mind you're going to have a zipper pull here, so it only matters that the first couple ones are actually going to be covered. Then we'll go ahead and click on that node tool again, and we're going to drag this line onto our edge, just like we did with the other one. Line it up. We do want it to be lined up with that edge there. So this one we can move out just a little bit. This one node. Okay, to help us get that line on the edge. You know, just like you see on an actual zipper. You're basically trying to replicate that. Well, not basically, that is exactly what you're trying to do. Okay, so let me zoom out. We have our zipper in place, and you can choose to add some stitching if you wanted. So if you wanted to add some stitching, the easiest thing to do is just to right click on one of your curves and hit duplicate, or you can use Control J or Command J if you Command J if you're using a Mac, Control J if you're using a Windows laptop. So you're going to hit duplicate, and you're going to click on dashed line style now instead of instead of having this at the textured brush style that we had selected. You're going to go down here to where it says dash, and then you can adjust your dash. So your first two numbers here are your width and the space. So if we did this at 4 and we did our space at 3, and then we added a color to our stroke, you see that we've got these pretty big lines. We can decrease the size of our stroke to make them smaller. And then all you're going to do is just move that line over so that it's all lined up like it is stitching next to the zipper. And then we can select off of it. And as long as everything looks like it's lined up, that's good to go. You can change this if you wanted to make these a little smaller. You could do 3. You can enter whatever values you would like into here to dictate those sizes. And then you can expand your, have it selected and expand your stroke to be able to modify the size as well. So once you get that stitching look that you're looking for, you're good to go. And you can repeat the same on the other side. So all we did was select our first curve that we have that has a zipper on it. We're going to right click and then duplicate. This has a zipper, but we don't want the zipper stroke applied. So we're going to select the dash line style instead of that textured line style. So we select our dash line style, and then we can enter the length and the spacing of our dashes. And you can play around with this to whatever works best for you. Once again, if you want to make sure that your strokes and your size is the same, you can click on that first curve that you made. We've got our stroke at 2.2 points. So I'll click on that second one again, and I will change that to 2.2 points. And we don't have any color, so I'll go to color. Oh no, we do have color. Okay, so I think we're just underneath it. We'll move this over. There we go. And once again, you're going to move it over, make sure it lines up with your zipper spacing wise. And if you need to make any adjustments, you can go ahead and do that. So we need to make an adjustment up here. So we'll just click on our line, click on our node tool, and we will move that one down so that we can have the appropriate spacing for our line, for our stitch line from our zipper. It looks like we can actually get a little bit closer, so we match the other side. Okay, I have gotten that lined up. Now you can go ahead and group your curves. So if I just drag that one up in my layers panel, these two are my zipper curves. So I'm going to go ahead and rename them zipper 1, zipper 2, and then I'll drag my stitches together so they're near each other. Stitch 1, stitch 2. Now these are all one group that's on top along with your zipper pull. So we're going to go ahead and grab a zipper pull from our assets panel. And we'll click on assets, and then we'll select those zipper pulls that we added, colored zipper pulls of Love and Shiplap. And you'll notice that the colors of the zipper pulls do match those of the brushes that I put. And like I said, you can choose custom colors as well, but I did do the brushes set up already to match all of these zipper pulls for you. So you'll just select whichever one you want. There's 3 different styles here, and just adjusting the color applies to your brush strokes. It does not apply to your zipper pulls. You can't adjust the colors through the color wheel the way you can with the brush strokes. So that's why I did all of these different colors and made sure you have the brushes available in the same matching color so that you wouldn't have to try and guess it as you're mixing and matching. So I did my gold zipper here, so I can choose from 3 different gold zipper pulls depending on which one I like best. I think I like this one the best. So all you do is just double click, and then you'll get that little puddle with the arrow down, and you can click and drag to put that in place. You're going to bring it down, and you basically want to size it just like it would be if it was a zipper. We'll zoom in. It's going to be over top of your teeth for sure. So you want to make sure it's about that wide and centered accordingly. And this is the point where if you notice that your line needs a little bit of adjusting, like I see this one's out a little bit, you can adjust it because it's behind this zipper and you're not going to be able to see it. So we can also move our zipper up so that it blends better with our zipper that we set up. So I'll just click on that line. Here it is in my layers panel, zipper 1. And what I'm going to do is select my node tool. And I'm just going to move that node over until that aligns. And then I will move it up a little bit so that our zipper teeth align accordingly as well. I think we just need to actually move this one over a little bit. So because we did that, we are going to make our zipper just a tiny bit wider. Okay, so it'll line up. And then you'll see, if you need to make some adjustments to your stitch line, you can do that as well. So I see that this one actually does need a little bit of adjusting because it's kind of close and it's also not straight. Anytime you do stuff like this, there's always lots of fine adjustments, which is another reason why I do really like having that snapping guide on, because it does make it a little easier and faster to adjust things. So I just move that over like that. And now I'm seeing that my line can be adjusted a little bit more than it was before. And also that we might benefit from just having another node in here. I'm going to make that a sharp node as well so that I can move it over and then adjust this line. All right. So if I click off of that, my spacing looks pretty good through here. I just need to adjust it up in here. And really it's just a matter of, if we zoom out, it's just a matter of adjusting those nodes accordingly. And if for some reason one is not adjusting the way you want, just add another node and that'll give you the ability to refine them. Okay, I think we're looking good. We got our zipper going. So now what I want to do actually is I want to group this entire top layer together so that we don't accidentally move anything around or shift it. So we're going to select everything except for our base layer. And since we have that locked, it will not select it when we select our move tool and then just click and drag. It's only going to select all of those layers here. And we will just right click and group. So now this is one group that we can move around. You will need to ungroup it if you decide to make changes to your V that you have going on here. Now we can fill this black space with anything that we want. You can fill it with a digital paper. You can fill it with other designs. Anything that you want can be clipped inside of this. So I'm going to show you digital paper first. If we hit place image tool, I've got some patriotic digital paper here that I downloaded off of Creative Fabrica. This one's kind of fun, geometric. We'll go with this. So if we want to fill that in here, all that we are going to do is just click and drag, because I want this to be the seamless pattern. I'm going to right click and duplicate. This does line up, so that's super easy. And then I'll just click and drag both again and right click and duplicate and move that one down. Now, once we have full coverage, what we can do is select all of our layers there. And all we're going to do is drag them into the name of our base layer that we created. This is the one-click step to clipping in Affinity Designer. It's so easy. It's like, I swear it's the easiest out of any program that's out there. You just click, drag, and it is embedded inside and it's done. So if you wanted to do digital paper and you wanted to make sure you had the ability to customize it, maybe you wanted to move around, change the size, you would do it this way. You would import it, tile it over, and then click and drag it inside. So easy. Now I do want to show you another option for doing if you were trying to fill with a digital paper. So I'm going to delete all of these out of here. Your next option is to select the layer that you want and then choose the fill tool, which is this rainbow colored one here. When you choose your fill tool, you can choose your type, and you have solid, linear, elliptical. These are all gradient fills, but if you choose bitmap, it's going to open up and give you the option to choose an image. So we can choose that same one again. And then you can choose to have it wrap or repeat if it is a digital paper, or you can choose to rotate it and fill it this way with these little arms to rotate it if you want it to be able to stretch it and move it out. So you have a couple of different options here that you can choose from if you choose the bitmap. So this is better if you want to be able to adjust the total size and you want to easily fill something. But if you like the version that I just had where it was tiled and it was smaller, then in that case, you can make it smaller this way. Or you can do the tiling like I showed you. Now, I do like the tiling for some projects because it's easier to make adjustments with it. I can swap out certain sections and things like that by just selecting it and replacing image, which you can't do with this. With this, you would actually have to choose a different fill. But if you choose the mirror or the repeat, you will have these little arms and it will fill all of your space accordingly. So that's just like a light touch on using the fill tool. It has a lot of cool capabilities, but that is something that you can do as well. Now, I actually want to keep this a solid color because I'm going to add some fireworks and stuff like that to it. So I'm going to go back to solid fill. And you can pick any color you want off of your color panel. You don't have to use the fill tool for that. I want to go with maybe like a nighttime blue, if that makes sense. Yeah, something like this, like a dark navy. It's not quite black, but it's not blue at the same time. And I'm going to add some firework clip art I found. So I'm going to click on Place Image Tool, or you can go to File and then Place. And I found some firework clip art on Creative Fabrica as well. So let's see. I think we'll do some gold, some silver, some red, some hot pink, some yellow. And we'll grab the turquoise one too. So you can select all the ones that you want, and when you do, it will open them up in a side panel here, so then you can just click and drag and place them. As you click and drag, you can choose the sizes that you want them. Now I just layered them over top here, sort of no special way. What you can do is align them how you would like on top, just like we did with that digital paper background. And then what I'm going to do afterwards is clip them inside of the zipper base layer, just like we did with that digital paper. So, I'll have one smaller there and maybe like a really big explosion one down here. I don't think there's any right or wrong way to do fireworks, right? I'm going to right click and duplicate just so I can have another one of those. Let me make that one a little bit bigger. Okay, I like it on that side. So let's go ahead and get something also going over here. Might have this one kind of spread out over there like that. And if you want to move one on top of the other, so like this one is below this pink one, you can always click and drag it in your layers panel above the layer. Or you can use these alignment tools at the top. So we have move to front, move forward one, move back one, move to back. So if I hit move to front, it moves it all the way to the top of our layers panel, which also puts it on top of everything else that's here. I think I definitely need another red one. So I'll right click and duplicate that. And we'll make this one like really big over here. And then let's see, I definitely need another silver one. So I'm going to put this one super small up here. I'm just kind of winging it. So, and then I think I could probably put one more down here. So I guess we'll make another one of these green turquoise ones, right click and duplicate that. And we'll put that one just sort of in the bottom there. Now I want to clip all of these inside of my blue layer. So I'm going to select all of them. And just like we did with that digital paper a few moments ago, I'm just going to click and drag into the name of the layer I want to clip it into. Not next to the icon. See, if you do it next to the icon, it clips the blue into your fireworks. If you do it below, if you do it below and you get the full rectangle, it's just going to be behind it. And if you do it into the icon, it's going to do the same thing. It'll knock it over there. So you want to drag it into the name, I show this in almost every video, and I always have people who ask this who can't get it. It is into the name. All you do, drag your layers into the name, and boom, it makes it all nested in there. It is a one-step clipping feature. This is clipping. Clipping is putting everything inside of one layer, or another layer, I guess I should say. So now, I want to add a little bit of extra pizzazz to this before I call this good. So I am going to click over on my pixel persona so that I can use some raster brushes that I have. This Xenon Galactic pack is hands down one of my favorites. I have mentioned it in the group. I've used it in other videos. I use it in a ton of designs, and it is linked in this video description. It has lens flares and like stardust. So much fun to work with for a lot of occasions. So I'm going to first select color, make sure I've got white selected for my color, and select my brush tool. And then I can choose, we've got the lens flares, and we also have this galactic, which is like little tiny stars for the galaxy look. And then fusion is these like fun lines, like there's a bokeh line and things like that. So it's such a fun brush pack to play with. I'm going to choose Xenon Galactic because I kind of just want to add some stars back here and give this a little oomph. So let's try this. Let's go with this Helios one. I'm going to increase my brush width because I do want this to actually stand out. And I'm going to select this option right here that says Add Pixel Layer. I want my pixel layer inside of my zippers though, and inside of my layer that's below my zipper, but I also want it below all of my fireworks. So I'm going to click and drag it again into that name and all the way down to the bottom until it shows that it is underneath. Here we go. So it shows that it is a layer being added underneath. So there is that layer. This is going to be my stardust layer. And now I'll go ahead and add some stardust in there. And you can see it kind of filling in back there behind my fireworks. We can choose to make it bigger as well if we wanted something to like really pop. And then if we wanted to maybe add a little bit of lens flares for a little brightness, we can go ahead and choose these. They have a ton of fun ones in here. This little star one is one of my favorites for this type of, for like a night sky. So we can actually just add that to a little star. We can make it a little bit bigger. Those ones kind of tiny. So we can add that on top of our stars. And I also really like this niobium one. Don't ask me how to pronounce this stuff. But this one I actually do use a ton in designs. So we'll just kind of click that around to give our stars a little bit more work. So now we've created the, like that external layer of our zipper and our zipper. And all we need now is to add a background. Now you can put whatever you want in the background. You just need to make sure that that layer is below your other two layers. So this is our zipper. I am going to switch back over to the designer persona, and I'm going to click on that place image tool again. And I'm going to just choose like a generic white wood background. So go to digital graphics and digital papers. Just choose one of these. And you're just going to click and drag to resize it however you want. Tile it if you want to tile it. Use that fill tool if you want to use that fill tool, but you'll have to add a rectangle if you do that. But just click and drag to import your picture and then drag it below all of your other layers, or just select move to back and it will put it at the bottom of your list. So now I've got this wood background, and now I can add text, I can add design, I can add an American flag, a bald eagle, whatever I want, you know, something that's something that is themed for July 4th. In this case, I think I'll just add a design I already have. Let's see. I think this one is from last year. It is a design membership bonus. So if you have the Love and Shiplap design membership, you can absolutely grab this design and do something similar. So I'm just going to click and drag and line it up in between my zippers how I want it. If I wanted to have it like peeking out from the zippers, then you're going to move it down in your layers panel. So it's before the white wood, but behind everything else. So always think of these layers kind of like a sandwich. So you always want your bread on the bottom. The white wood is our bread in this situation. And then you have everything else on top of it. So if you wanted your cheese before your lettuce, you would just move the layers. And it's the same thing here. So if I wanted to have this behind it and kind of peeking out from the zipper, I can resize it and have it just like that. And then I could go ahead and add more fireworks, confetti, names, anything I wanted inside. So this is done and it is ready to go. It's that easy to create a zipper tumbler. I'm sure you guys are going to find it easy, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you create. Once you are done and you are ready to save this, you just go to File and then Save As. File and Save As is going to save this working document. So if you set up your zipper file and you just want to be able to come in later and change out whatever's in this base layer and whatever is in the background, but you always want the same shape, you'll do File and then Save As. This is going to save your Affinity Designer file. So your working file, your source file, whatever you want to call it. So this is our Sparkle Squad Tumbler. If you want to export this to be able to sell it or use it for printing, then you would go to File and then Export and choose PNG and export it and give it a name as well. And that's it. So if you enjoyed this tutorial and you felt like it was easy to follow and you're interested in learning more about Affinity Designer, please sign up for that Affinity Designer Masterclass. It's always going to be available to you, so it's not like you have to worry if you can't sign up right now and you want to. It'll be ready for you when you're ready. I highly recommend it. Don't take my word for it. Head over to our Facebook group, see what people are saying about it who have started it and are working through it. And if you think it's for you, if you want to know everything there is to know about Affinity Designer and how to use it in real time, in real applications as it relates to sublimation design, then it's the course for you. And I hope you'll sign up. And don't forget to use the code SUBTHAT to save $30 on your sign up. The course is hosted on our website. It is underneath your account. It does not go anywhere. You have access to it forever. And if you have other questions, check out the FAQ that's there or comment on this video. Thank you so much for joining us, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your night.